Oh, all right, Corey. This might fire you up even more, Corey. Let me hear what you say after hearing Dan Patrick say defense don't matter.
And the hot topic appears to be, even though I think the race is over, is Joker versus Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Here's Magic Johnson on Byron Scott's podcast.
Best player in basketball right now. And he reads situations and defense as well. His basketball IQ is off the chart.
Yeah.
And then he beats you because he's off rhythm. He's not one of the best yet, but he is up there. And the only thing he can't do like Kareem could do is dominate on both ends. Right. That's what's missing for him.
Yeah.
Because he's not a big shot blocker.
Right. Defensively, he's a little bit of a liability.
Yeah.
To a certain extent, yeah.
He's the best player in the league.
So that's Magic on Byron Scott's Fast Break podcast. And he puts it into context because he's comparing him to one of the greatest centers, one of the greatest players of all time in Kareem. And no, Jokic is not a shot blocker. But here's a stat that is rarely brought up. And to be honest, when you talk about players, how many MVPs were great defenders, good defenders? When's the last time somebody said, man, that Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he can lock you up? I haven't heard it, but I don't think that should factor in. If you're really good, you're unbelievable scorer. I do believe he's unstoppable. Your team is playing great. He's going to win the MVP. There was a real push for him last year. But here's the thing that is not brought up. A defensive rebound, it's called a defensive rebound. And who is third in the NBA? It's Jokic. So he's third in rebounding and third in defensive rebounding. That's a defensive stat that's rarely brought up. Larry Bird and Magic Johnson, they quote unquote, they played the passing lanes. That didn't mean they played defense because you can't play the passing lanes unless you kind of slough off your player. I don't know if SGA is a great defender. Maybe he is, but it feels like we're picking and choosing. And this came up with Joker with Joel Embiid. Yeah, but Joker doesn't play good defense. Defensive rebounds is still a stat, and it's rarely brought up. Larry Bird didn't play defense. I don't know too many people back then who go, yeah, but Larry can't play defense. Okay. Magic couldn't play defense. Kobe played defense because Michael Jordan played defense. I mean, how many MVPs were like Michael Jordan? They could beat you at both ends of the floor. I don't know if Karl Malone was a great defender. I think he was on the first or second team all defensive team, but we do get caught up, and we'll say this about MVPs in baseball. Yeah, but he's not a real good fielder. Okay. So we kind of pick and choose. You can use it against somebody. You can use it for somebody, but and Magic putting it in context there that he's not Kareem. And how many players are Kareem? Jokic is going to be one of the great. He should probably have 4 MVPs. And could be on the cusp of a 5th one. I mean, just let that sink in. That doesn't happen. But he is clearly the best player. That doesn't mean he's the most valuable player. And that's why it will go to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander Jr. III.
Yo, that was a lot. Bro, that was a lot. First of all, he told lies. He stretched truths. He said Magic and Larry Bird couldn't play defense. He said Kobe only played defense because Jordan played defense. He said this man had the nerve to say Karl. I don't know if Karl Malone played defense. He was first and second team all defense, but I don't know if he played defense. What? So he was selected for first and second team all defense, but you don't know if SGA plays defense. You just go pretend like SGA is not a good defender. And then you go say boxing out and defensive rebounds should count for defense for Jokic. What the fuck are we doing?
Listen, I mean, it's true though. He not lying. It's true. Bro, you got a 7-footer to let people just blow right past him. You miss a shot. He's 7-footer getting rebounds against 6'5" people. Come on, hell yeah, he gonna have number 3 in defensive rebounds. This shit's crazy. Like, it is crazy how you try to defend a motherfucker getting a half tank of gas when he got a pocket full of money. That's just nuts. It's nuts. Like, how do you defend?
I can't believe he did that, bro.
It's serious with Bill Cuz like that.
How do you defend?
But nah. I mean, when I heard that, and then in the same breath said, I don't know if SGA is a great defender. Is he not leading or at least in the top 3 in defensive rating? What are we talking about?
Bro, I'm telling you, man.
I mean, and defensive rebound.
Somebody moving the goalpost, and he just moved the. What did he just do?
I've never heard somebody use defensive rebound to say that somebody's good at defense.
Bro, I mean,
just because the name of it is defensive rebound.
I've never heard it before.
So
never heard it before.
So if somebody gets a plethora of awesome offensive rebounds, are they an offensive artist?
A good offensive player. Yes, Dennis Rodman was a good offensive player because he got offensive rebound.
And we've had this conversation before.
Like, come on, man, this don't even make sense, bro.
Wow.
Like, how, dude? Like the verbal judo that they got to do,
and then knocking people who played passing lane,
actual defense.
How you go knock Magic and Bird and Kobe and Karl Malone?
But they like the passing lane. They only played the passing lanes.
Hold on, don't you have to have the defensive IQ to know when is the right time to make the move in the passing lane?
But don't fall for that trap, though. Don't fall for that trap, because what happens is a player that's not a lockdown defender like Gary Payton or Michael Jordan, but he is putting in effort like somebody like Reggie Miller. Reggie Miller wasn't a great defender like Payton or Jordan, but his effort was there. He didn't get cooked, right? So what happens is they would say that a player like that wasn't good at defense, but they gotta have an excuse for why they're still good defenders, and they say, oh, they just played the passing lanes.
Tim Jones,
and that's what they do to Magic and Bird. They say Magic and Bird wasn't lockdown defenders.
They deserved it. It doesn't mean that they deserve the MVP.
Yeah, I was looking at.
All know that they won it. No shit, they won it. It don't mean
that comment too.
Yeah, bring the comment.
What do you say?
I got you. I'm bringing it up.
It don't mean that they deserve it.
He said Steph, Harden, AI, Magic, Barkley, all below average defenders that won MVP.
Yes, but who was? So this is the thing. I'll pull it up. Who was in contention for MVP that year with them? Was it a lockdown? All right, so right now you got Jokic, who is below average defender and above average. He's an elite offensive player. You got SGA, who's an elite offensive player and an above average defender. When you look at that, it's very hard for the elite offensive player only, who's below average defense, to be more valuable than the guy that's valuable on both sides of the floor. So if it's between both of them, it's going to lean toward the defender, the guy that's great at defense. But when Harden won it, was it another guy in contention that was great at defense? And the answer probably was no. I think it was Harden and Steph that was going forward. So it's you just can't go and cherry pick. Oh, Steve Nash won it this year, and he's not a great defender, and say that means Jokic should win it this year. Well, you have a great defender that's a better candidate than Jokic. They didn't have that for Steve Nash. Well, they did, but they still did some verbal gymnastics for Steve Nash.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah, it made perfect sense.
And the other thing he said, how many MVPs played great defense? Come on, let's go down the list. Joel Embiid, great defense.
Right.
Giannis, great defense.
Okay, wait a minute. Yeah.
Yeah, Giannis, great defense. LeBron James, when he won, a great defense. Derrick Rose, when he won, a great defense. Kobe, great defense. Garnett, great defense. Duncan, great defense. Shaq, great defense. Karl Malone, Michael Jordan, David Robinson, Hakeem Olajuwon. All right. Julius Erving, Moses Malone, Kareem, like it's Bob McAdoo, Willis Reed, Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell. Like it's a long. The list for defenders is longer than the list for non-defenders.
Mm-hmm.
And
way
dude,
long.
Somebody keep bringing up Dirk. Dirk was 7 foot and slow, but he got in the damn way. He was standing there eating the way. Mm-hmm. He would give an effort. Luka's fat ass don't give no effort, period. He doesn't do anything. He stands there with his hands out, and he is an extreme liability on defense. And it puts pressure on everybody else on the court because they're trying to make up for his discrepancy. But then when the ball goes on offense, you want the ball, and you're going to hold it till it's 3 seconds left on the shot clock. Like, it's crazy.
And if I can recall, the guy just said AI. AI was not the best defender, but I believe the year that he won, and correct me if I'm wrong, the year that he won MVP, he gave effort on the defensive side of the ball, including averaging like over 2 steals a game or something like that. Still not.
It was more than, but they said the same thing with him. He played the pass,
and it was hustle. So
yeah, he wasn't a cone. AI played great defense. The only AI had the same issue that Steph Curry has. He's undersized, so when he get matched up against bigger guards, they can take advantage of it.
Right.
Allen Iverson had to guard people like Kobe, Kerry Kittles, Ray Allen a lot.
I want to real quick. I just want to, because I was looking up something in the top 10 in individual defensive rating this year. Currently, there are 2 guards, 1 small forward, and the rest are big men in the top 10. The forward is Amen Thompson from Houston, and the 2 guards who are at number 1 and number 2 respectively is Jalen Williams and SGA. The rest are big men in the top 10, but in none of those big men in the top 10 are Jokic. Jokic is 17th in defensive rating,
and defensive rating actually
gets in the way.
Yeah, but defensive rating really don't tell the whole story because big men get more blocks, and they can get blocks and steals. So if you get blocks and steals, it's going to go into that defensive rating. But that's not going to tell me if you're able to stop a guy. You can stop a guy and force a bad shot and not get a block or steal, right? So you can be a good defender. Like Draymond Green is not in there either, but we know Draymond Green is a really great defender.
But
right,
with I agree, but with what you just said, knowing that big men are they can do more as far as as far as defensive stats go, to see that there are 2 guards leading in defensive rating.
Yeah.
Knowing that big men are more of the defensive, players, that is, I don't understand how we saying that SGA is better than Jokic is better than SGA.
Let's do this really quick. This gonna be fun, y'all. And we go, and then we'll get to our NFL. But this gonna be based on my criteria, right?
Mm-hmm.
Remember, offensive value. All right, and let's explain offensive value and how we can see that. Your offensive value is gonna be based on, of course, your points, how many points you score, and your assist as well. Right, but not just your points and your assists. I want to know if it led to your team's success in some type of way. Here's the 2 ways. Of course, the win column, but also where you're rated at offensively as a team. So if I'm scoring 30 points a game, but my team is rated like we in 30th place in scoring, then you just doing it. You're not doing a good job, right? But if I'm scoring 30 points a game, I lead the league in scoring, and my team is number 1 in scoring, then that connects for me. You get what I'm saying, Corey? It's the old ERAL rating system for the military, right? You led 32 sailors, that's good. But if you just led 32 sailors and you can't tell me what those sailors did successfully, then it's in vain. You just can't say I led 32 sailors. I led 32 sailors or 32 troops or 32 airmen, and this is what they achieved. So if I led in scoring, this is what my team achieved, number 1 in scoring overall, right? Right. Same thing with defense, right? Defensive value, show me what you did personally and show me how it led to team success in the win column or where your team is rated at, right? So what I want to do is I want to pick a year for MVP with this formula in mind and go back and see if we would pick the same person for MVP that year. I'll let y'all pick the year. All right, too late. 04-05. 04-05, the year Steve Nash won it.
Oh, you had that one cooked. You was ready.
Yeah, you was at
right.
04-05. Hold on, let me see if I can pull it up and put it on screen. 2004, 2005. Was that the one you was gonna pick, Chris?
No, I was gonna say like 2014. I was just gonna throw out a random number. I was trying to think of I was trying to think of Harden's and Westbrook's MVPs.
All right, what year was that?
Probably like 11, 12.
Nah, 12 was Kevin Durant.
17, 18.
Who was 17, 18?
18 was Harden. Yeah, 18 was Harden, 17 was Westbrook.
All right, so which year we doing?
Do Harden. I would love to see that one.
All right, bet. Let's pull it up. Hold on. Let me put it on screen. Hey, handle the comments while I'm doing this, Chris.
Let's see.
You're a great player, but don't play defense. Okay.
You're a great offensive player, and that's why we need to have the Offensive Player of the Year award. We won't have no more confusion if we did that.
Yeah.
If we had the Offensive Player of the Year award, we can give it to Jokic every year for averaging a triple-double. Every year. But for the MVP, you got to have both sides, offense and defense, not just offense. Right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so let me put this on screen. Boom. Let me see if I can change this. I got Jay on screen right now. Let me see. Let me go back to this. All right, so here we go. Let me make this a little bigger. All right. So Westbrook got 69 first place votes. James Harden got 22 first base votes, right? This the year that he averaged 31. He averaged 32 points, 11 rebounds, and 10 assists. So the triple-double was really why he got the MVP. Now, somebody look up the team standings that year. What was the team standings?
This 17, 18.
16, 17, I think.
16, 17. 16, 17. 2016, 17 NBA standings. Right. So let's look at, so that's the Warriors won 67 games that year.
The Thunder were 6th.
And a 6 seed.
At 47 and 35.
Yep. So they sitting at a 6 seed, right? 47 wins, sitting at a 6 seed.
20 games out of place.
This, you get what I'm saying? Like Westbrook was not supposed to get MVP. This is not MVP work. We went crazy because of a triple that he broke. I don't even know if that's a record. Oscar had already done this. And I don't even think Oscar got MVP the year he done it. So we giving MVP to the second guy that did it. Right. So if and look at Steph Curry. He's down there. He didn't have a monster year, 25 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists. I mean, that is kind of good. He didn't get no first place votes. He's in 6th place.
On a 67 win team.
On a 67 win team. That is insane. Look at, we overlooked the number 1 team in the league to go down to a 6 seed because of a triple-double.
Kawhi was averaging 25, 5, and 3, right? And was the number 3 in the MVP race, and the Spurs was 61 and 21.
There's your MVP right there, Kawhi. There's your. So out of all of these candidates, Kawhi and LeBron James was the only one. Well, I only think LeBron was playing both ends that year. Definitely his first year in his first stint in Cleveland and his year in Miami. But when he came back to Cleveland, he kind of tapered off a little bit. But that year, that should have been Kawhi Leonard's MVP. My vote would have went to Kawhi. Because he's got the wins and he's got both ends of the floor covered. I would have gave it to Kawhi. I think I would have gave Steph my second place votes.
Absolutely.
Who agrees with that or disagree?
I
got something different.
I wouldn't. You know damn well I ain't picking James Harden. Kawhi is the next one.
So, but you see what we doing though? just because of an MVP, I mean, just because of a triple double, we've given, and I'm gonna tell you how bad they don't respect MVP. I mean, triple doubles for real. Westbrook got the MVP for getting a triple double. He got it 2 more seasons after that, and wasn't nowhere near getting the MVP. Why?
Because we had seen it again.
The following season, I think James Harden got it. Rockets were number 1 in the West with a 65-win team. Thunder were 4th in the West at 48-34.
So they switched it. What happened is all the people who voted for Westbrook because of the triple double, the next year, they was like we all those votes went to Harden. They just switched it. They went to Harden. Harden did the same thing this year that he did the year after that. Right. So now the wins matter. Now that Harden was in the number 1 seed, I think that year, the wins matter. And they was like, oh yeah, and really what it was they got tired of voting for Westbrook because they seen that he was padding his stats. That's what really happened.
So what happened? Are we blind now? Jokic is just doing the same thing that Westbrook did this season.
Of course he is, but they don't see that. So here's the next year when Harden won it, and then LeBron was second in votes. I mean, Harden won by a landslide. I mean, what was the teams? Let me see the standings that year. The standings that year
for James.
This is what
it was Rockets 1, Warriors 2, and the Warriors and the Rockets were the only teams above 50 wins in the West. Then you had the Trailblazers
and the Rockets
3.
had 65 wins. So so if Harden has the team success better than everyone, he broke records. His team was number 1 in offense, and he didn't have the defense. Okay, I'm cool with that. So he got offense. He got the number 1 record in the league. He don't have the defense. He got the defense is missing. So he got 2 out of the 3. When you go to LeBron, he don't have the best record, but let's say he was playing both ends, but he don't have the record. So he got 2 out of the 3 really kind of, because his team how many they won?
They were a 50-win team and 4th in the East that year.
4th in the East. No. So yeah. So I would give him a 2 out of the 3. AD wasn't he was a 2-day player that he didn't win enough. So when you talk about the players who didn't play defense, when you look at the other candidates, there's no other candidates that played defense that had the team wins that could compete with James Harden. So this is when you pick someone that is missing the defensive end, not when the defender like SGA has offense, defense, and the number 1 record in the league. Like how can he have all 3 and you pick somebody over him because of the triple double?
Crazy.
Just don't make sense.
I don't understand it. The Thunder are up in the West on second place by 12.5 games.
And you know what's funny about that? Look who is 12.5 games behind Denver.
Phoenix
Suns,
Dallas.
Phoenix at the number 11 spot. So the difference between Denver and OKC is the same difference between Denver and Phoenix.
Wow.
Yeah. Crazy.
It's insane, man.
This is I don't how do we, and you can kind of see like the league is trying to kind of correct it, because after James Harden, then it's Giannis for MVP. Bucks was 60-win team, first in the East.
2-way player with the best record, or close to at least a top 3 seed in his conference.
And when he won it back to back, and then he was number 1 in the East again, 56-win team. And then they started doing some crazy stuff, because 2020 was when, or the 2020-2021 was when Jokic won, right? Yep. But
and what seed was Denver in when he won his first MVP? The freaking 6 seed. There's no way
they were
the most valuable player of the NBA should be coming from a 6 seed.
They were
Westbrook and Jokic. No, I'm talking about his first MVP when they was in the 6 seed. Oh, his second one.
The second one, yeah, probably was a 6th seed.
6th seed. Yeah, one of them was a 6th seed. He wasn't supposed to get it.
Yeah, he was the second one. The second of the back-to-back. He was in the 6th seed.
A freaking
48
6th seed.
wins over
over Embiid.
The 64 win Suns, which you probably could have. I mean,
oh, you know what's funny about the 64 win Suns? That was Chris Paul's second year there. He had just got there. They won more games the first year. They made the playoffs, but the next year they bounced. They ballooned up to 64 wins. The average that Chris Paul had when he led them to 64 wins was almost identical to what Steve Nash had when he won MVP back to back, like 15 points, 10 assists. Chris Paul had that. Now he got MVP votes. He was like the 5th place for MVP votes, but Steve Nash got back-to-back MVPs for being the number 1 seed. Well, actually, no, he was on the number 1 seed 1 year, but got an MVP for that with 15 and 10. While Amari Stoudemire was averaging 26 and 10 on that team.
And you know what even got me? I don't know if it was his first or second Jokic MVP year. Is he won MVP? And for some reason, it's like people can't seem to remember this, but I remember watching those games and getting frustrated. You won MVP. I can't remember if it was year 1 or year 2, but when the games were close, you were taken out of the game because you can't play defense.
Exactly. What name an MVP that comes out for offense, defensive purposes. And Luka, the same thing. JJ Redick did that to Luka when he first got to the Lakers. Took him out with the last 2 minutes left for offensive, defensive purposes. I said that's embarrassing, bro.
That's insane.
That's what Scalabrine was talking about. That's freaking embarrassing.
How are you the best player in the game, or considered the best player in the game, but you being removed from the game when they need you the most?
I can't trust you to be on the floor in clutch time, but you're the best player in the world.
You're not the best player if that's the case.
Crazy work.
You're a talented player on one
very
end
much so.
Talented scorer.
You're not a talented scorer, talented playmaker on the offensive side of the basketball, but you're not the best player.
A freaking cone on defense.
Yeah. Let's open the phone lines up.
I mean, this is just you live through it, you see it, and you kind of just like, okay. But like going back and looking at it and actually analyzing it, it's so frustrating. Because how did we get here?
I did it all the way from Steve Nash up to this year. I've already analyzed all this from Steve Nash up to this year. And it's insane.
I don't understand it. I don't get it.
But that Dan Patrick soundbite was diabolical.
That's probably one of the worst takes I've heard this year. My gosh. I mean,
he's third. He's third.
The check is in the mail. The check is in the mail. That's all I can say about that.
Oh man.
Somebody need to find out who agency Jokic is signed under, because I need to know.
Shaq used to be removed in the 4th because of free throws. They took Shaq and Wook both out the game.
Okay. So don't give him an MVP either. Shaq only got one MVP anyway. We're not vouching for Shaq. We vouching for people who do it on both ends of the floor and who win. That's what we're vouching for.
But I think we're also talking about two big men who weren't great at. A lot of big men aren't great at free throws. But when it came to the game, you gonna tell me Shaq wasn't dominant on the offensive side of the ball and the defensive side of the ball?
Can't say that.
Effort. Yeah. You can't say that. You can't say that. We got a call on the line. Dominique, what's up, girl? We good, man. How you doing?
We can't hear.
We can't hear.
Can't hear.
We can hear you good.
No, we can't.
No, we cannot.
Hold on, y'all can't hear?
No.
Hold on. Maybe I'm doing something. Oh yeah, I definitely got it muted too. That's operator error. Hold on. I'm glad y'all said something.
We was trying to.
Oh, I'm sorry. All right, Dominique, go ahead.
Hey guys.
What's up,
Going on?
Guys, I'm on my way home from work. I'm driving home. But I've been listening in, and I have to say, I just think that if I really want us as a panel to really set this standard. If you're not playing offense and defense, you're not playing basketball. Like we have to, I just feel like we need to stand for something because it's not right. I'm so tired of people saying, I love this person's game. You know, they do this offensively, they do that. Like Austin Reeves, for instance, Luka Doncic, even Dalton Connect. Like I actually like Dalton Connect. I think he's got, you know, an NBA player build and body, but those three people cannot guard anybody. How the hell are they going to win a title? You know, people are putting them in the finals. People like Jokic. How can he win another title and he can't run in the second half?
It's going to be very hard. And there's going to be a lot of help.
How is Luka? Why are people saying that, like, you know, we're body shaming Luka? It's not about body shaming. And I want to be clear in this because obviously there's different builds in the NBA, and some kinds of bodies, they just don't put on muscle, right? Like Carmelo Anthony. Nobody called him fat, though. Maybe you might have heard chubby. I've called him chubby. I've called him lazy. But fat? I don't remember Carmelo Anthony showing up to the NBA so large and in charge that he couldn't play for 20 to 30 games in a season. So things are out of control. Like it's out of control, right? Like we can all agree that what's happening right now is out of control. And Mel, you analyzed this months ago. I watched that you did this way back when, before I even joined the panel. You talked about MVP. You talked about Steve Nash and how and why he was given those MVPs, I think, over Kobe, like a long time ago, right? Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I've talked about it a couple of times.
Yeah. Right. So, like, when you think about Steve Nash, does anybody know where he's from?
Canada.
Here we go.
Right. Okay, I'm not going to say anything crazy. I'm just here to let everybody know that the NBA is obsessed with the foreign market. And this has got, like, the evidence is right there. No, you did the analysis. We don't want to say it, but the NBA is just flat out obsessed with the foreign market. Right now, there's an FNBA. There's the NBA and there's the FNBA. And we will never have a foreign FNBA player as the face of the league because they are fat. When has a basketball player ever been the face of the league? It has nothing to do with they're boring. It has nothing to do with that. Have you ever seen in any sport? Let's go down the line. In any sport, have we ever seen the face of that sport be fat?
Shaq was fat a couple of years.
Was Shaq the face though?
The league though.
I don't know.
When
was
he was breaking backboards, he was in shape. He looked
he
great.
definitely was.
He could run the floor.
Yeah, he definitely
so like
was.
when he was like the guy, you know, he didn't get fat till the 2000s, but in the 90s, he was in shape. He had to run.
Yeah. But he was the diesel in LA. He came to LA and he was the diesel in LA. He was a little overweight.
Yeah.
I wouldn't call him overweight.
And then when he went to the East, I think he was overweight, and I'll agree that Shaq wasn't in shape, but he went back to the East Coast and he lost weight.
He did.
Like Carmelo Anthony went to the Knicks and lost weight. You know, when you're a professional, you're going to do your job and you're going to earn your paycheck. And right now, the foreign NBA players, they don't have to do that because of the league's obsession with trying to create this other league, right, in the foreign markets.
Yeah.
And this is the plan that David Stern always had. So this is just something that we're seeing unfold. All we're seeing is the business end of the NBA, and like it's just more prevalent in the sport. And they're making it easier for white American males to excel in the sport, and they're making it easier for white foreign internationals to excel in the sport as well. That's why defense and athleticism was removed. That's why you can be fat and play in the NBA. And that is why the viewership is down. And that is why, we'll never see that's why there's no face of the league, because the NBA won't let it be an American, because they won't award an American MVP. They're trying to force feed the internationals onto us, but they're fat. So we're not going to let it happen.
Well, right now, OKC,
not letting it happen.
Right now, OKC is beating the Hornets by a gaboogle points. SGA only played 29 minutes. He's already on the bench with 30 points, 9 assists, and 6 rebounds with 1 turnover.
But a guy that plays defense should be able to pad the stat, not guys that are getting blown off the floor. They get to stay on the court through the fourth quarter. We all know who these people are.
Yeah, that game is over, and there's still 8 minutes left in the fourth. And SGA been chilling for a minute, man. Yeah, they're up by Bagoogle, which is insane, man. But Dominique, next Friday we need you on the show. Next Friday, Dominique, I'm gonna put you on the spot.
I'm really gonna try to do everything I can.
Nope. I don't want to hear it.
I'm gonna be in Washington. I have 1 week left. I have 1 week left of training. So I fly to Washington on Sunday and I fly back on Friday, but I get back like in the evening, like at 8:30 at night.
Well, I bid you a good night. We'll be friends again when I can see your face on the panel. How about that?
Well, I love all you guys. So happy Friday, and just remember, the foreign FNBA players are taking over.
All right, man. Thanks for the call.
It's done.
All right.
How y'all feel about the foreign? I think it's a little bit of that, right? But I mean, at the end of the day, the voters. Well, we don't know who the voters are. At the end of the day, the voters. Do they have a little bias? You can hear it in people's voice, like what Darren Patrick saying, that he don't usually not make sense like that. And he didn't make sense for like 3 minutes straight. Like he just kept putting nonsense out there. And you do that when you're trying to vouch for something that is a losing effort, but you still trying to do it. And the only reason why you would do that if you're a smart person is because your heart is in it, your feelings are in it. So whatever it is that people can relate to with Jokic, I don't know if it's the fact that it could be what Dominique said. It could be the fact that he's a white guy, so white people probably relate to him. It could be the fact that he's not athletic. It could be the fact that his demeanor relates to people better than some of these other guys. It could be a number of things, but there's a little bit of bias with the voting. And you know, when you figure out who you want to vote for, you're just going to use the talking points that benefits them. And that's what Dan Patrick did, man. That was disgusting work. That was nasty.
Sound like a politician.
Not even. I mean, Trump, he did sound like Trump. He sounded like Trump for real. That was horrible. I can't believe he said Kobe only defended because of Jordan. And Bird and Magic wasn't good defenders. I don't know if SGA can defend. Can Karl Malone defend? I don't think so. He was first team, but I don't know if he can defend. Who is like Michael Jordan? And how many MVPs actually played defense? I was like, man, dude, what in the golly, insane.
Man, I just sent you.
Right.
Yes.
Y'all ready for some football? Should we take another phone call?
I just sent you something real quick, man. I want you and your voice to read that.
All right, this is voting results 2023, 2024.
No. This is from 21-22. It's just cut off at the bottom.
Oh, 21-22. Okay. What does it say? Comparing MVP votes for all players receiving votes. Voter race, black, number of voters, 24. Latino 3, white 65.
Sheesh.
So 65. So it's 100. It's usually 100, around 101 votes. They're saying 65 of them are considered white. That's interesting. Well, that's what Kendrick Perkins got in trouble for last year or year before last, when he said most of the voters was right, and they had to come on a show the next day and correct them and say, cause I think he said 75% of the voters are white, and they came back and Molly was like, there's a correction that we had to put out there. You was wrong about the 75%. So I was like, okay, so what percentage is it? They never said it. So it could have been 74. You know what I mean?
It could have been 76.
Somebody else understand this?
Girl, you talking about the last 2 minutes to have a chance to win at that point. Someone has to be leading the team in the first 46 minutes. If you are the one who always gets the team to a position to win, you are the best player.
That's not the point. The point is you're a liability on defense, so they have to pull you out for defensive purposes.
That's
not good.
Can I get a round of applause for being able to read that?
Oh yeah, it was like folding a 50 sheet.
Yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah.
That was worse
All
than
right,
like
caller from Illinois. What's your thoughts? Oh, hold on, caller. Let me get you hooked. All right, caller from Illinois. Can you hear us?
That Bluetooth back
If you
on.
guys have been, yeah, I can hear you.
All right, go ahead.
I can hear you.
Yeah, go
If you
ahead.
guys have been watching the game, when the NBA started changing the style of play, they're playing the style of international basketball. So they've been putting these guys on the forefront when they start changing the style.
Yeah, but
taking out the
hold
big
on.
men.
But hold on. This is the thing though. The internet, that's the international style of the 90s. The international leagues don't even play that style no more. They play the style that we played in the 90s. They play more physical now.
Right. I said it has changed. It has flip-flopped. But the NBA is still playing right now the international style of basketball.
Correct.
You took away the big man. The big man is out of the game.
Correct.
So if you did took some of these guys who were in college that played centers as big men, Jokic wouldn't be able to do all this stuff.
Correct. He would look more like Dino Raja. He would look more like Vlade Divac. He'll look more like Arvydas Sabonis with the bad knees.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. And this is what they planned. This is what they did, and it has come to form. It's not going to change until the style of basketball changes.
Correct.
Until they started off in college or they started off in high school and reintroduce the big men and a little bit more physicality. You're not going to see anything different. It's going to get worse and worse as it goes on.
Yeah.
This is what's going to happen to the NBA.
No, you're right. You're right. I can't disagree with you, man. Thanks for the call, brother.
All right.
We're gonna take one last call. I think I had a caller from a 251. I think that's Mississippi. You can call back you'll be the last caller. And then we'll move on. We'll get to some NBA and NFL free agency. That's gonna be fun.
Woo woo.
Woo woo.
So unenthusiastic.
That sounds lazy.
251 is Alabama.
Slamabama.
Bama Gamma.
She's a bad Bama Jamma.
Call back.
We was rhyming, and then that song popped in my head because it rhymed.
He said Bama Jamma.
But the worst.
She's a bad Bama Jamma. She's a bad Bama Jamma.
We was talking about Alabama though, so that's clever, I guess.
Yeah, that's why you were saying Bama Jamma for Alabama.
No, I was singing She's a Bad Bama Jamma.
You said Bama Jamma though.
Oh, I did.
You said Bama Jamma. That's what I heard. I heard Bama Jamma.
We're gonna play this shit back.
It's all good though.
This is all on tape.
I heard Bama Jamma. I'm sorry. Hey man, hey, y'all want to look at another MVP? Let's say okay. Okay, there's the phone call right there.
What year is this?
This was James Harden's year, I think.
Caller from Alabama. What's up?
Hey, how y'all doing?
Oh, this Siobhan. What's up, Siobhan?
Hey.
What's going on?
Hey, how you doing?
We good.
What's going on?
We're good. What's your thoughts?
I'm good. I got a quick thought, and this just crossed my mind. You mentioned that the NBA seems to be looking more at the international players or foreign players, those who I guess stand out when they consider like for league MVP. And I'm wondering if they're going to favor the international players more for league MVP by whatever the standard is that they have for them. Why not look at Giannis? Because Giannis, did he win the MVP 2 times?
He did.
Yes.
He did. And he also won an NBA Finals with the Finals MVP. Am I correct?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So why not look at him and have him as the standard? Because last time I checked, Giannis played both ends, and he still does.
That's true.
And he plays them both at a high level.
Correct.
So why don't they look at him as the standard instead of Jokic?
Because
it's good.
Well, hold on.
He don't play defense.
Because
you know what I'm saying?
Because they did look at Giannis. Remember, Giannis was considered to be the best in the world for about 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So they did give him a shot, and now they got all of Greece watching Jokic. Now let's go and get all of Serbia watching Jokic. They had all of Greece watching Giannis. Now let's get all of Serbia watching Jokic. And let's go get all of wherever Luka is from watching him. They got to get all of them. They can't just get the people that like Giannis. They got to get all of them.
No. My thing is that, like what Dan Patrick was saying, because he of course he has a very biased opinion. He's a Jokic fan, like
correct.
Point case, we know, but his mind frame of thinking, or however they say it, is more like he's looking at the stats, and like, of course, he thinks Jokic is more valuable to his team than someone like, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who I also think is very valuable to his team, who I still think should be the league MVP. But the problem that I've always felt like when it comes to the league MVP, specifically, I want to say since right between, not between, but yeah, behind Steph Curry winning the unanimous MVP to up until Giannis winning league MVP, I don't feel like people were I don't feel like the voters were really looking at the offense and the defense together. I've always felt like they were just always more offensive minded, which is why I feel like James Harden won. By the way, maybe I'm the only person who thinks this, but I do believe that when they finally did award James Harden the league MVP, I feel like it was a sympathetic award. Because remember, he was high on the MVP list when Steph Curry was on it for his first MVP.
And the second one.
And the second one. But Steph had the better, his team had the better record, of course. So and then the year after Steph won, Westbrook won, I also felt, I know I may be the only one, but that was also a sympathetic one because OKC did not have Kevin Durant anymore.
Yeah.
And even though Russell did have a historic season since Oscar Robertson, he was the 6th seed. He really had no business winning that. No offense to Westbrook, but you're the 6th seed.
You're making a good point because it did. Even though he did get the triple double thing, and we haven't seen it since Oscar. They were on his side with the KD breakup. They hated KD for going to the Warriors and running the NBA. Everyone took Russell Westbrook's side.
Yeah, and
that MVP was almost like one of those things. Like, yeah, you stay with the home team. The voters loved him, right? But it goes to show you that it only lasted 1 year because the next year he did the same thing, and it was like, nope, no votes for you, buddy.
Exactly. And you guys mentioned that during that year, that like when you listed the MVPs or the people that was in contention for it, number 3 was Kawhi.
Mm-hmm.
So I absolutely agree. Kawhi should have been the MVP that year because you can still make an argument had Kawhi Leonard not got injured in the Western Conference Finals.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know how if the Warriors even get to the finals with Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
If he doesn't get hurt.
Yeah.
We don't know. We will never know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just wonder why not just, keep Giannis as the standard.
Because they spreading the wealth. Like, if you was doing this from a business standpoint, would you keep it on and your goal was to reach an untapped market overseas, and you got Jokic, Giannis, you got players in Canada like SGA, you got Luka, you got all those guys. Are you going to choose just one? Or are you going to figure out a way to spread the wealth? So Giannis had his run. He had a 3 or 4 year stretch. He got a ring out of it. He got 2 MVPs. Jokic had his run of a 3 or 4 year stretch. He got a ring out of it. He got 3 MVPs. So now Luka's in LA. He's going to have his turn.
Embiid will have his.
Yeah, Embiid got his one sympathy, what they call a sympathy MVP. We're not trying to, we don't want to reach your market. We reaching your market with Giannis. We don't need Embiid, right? We don't need Embiid. So we, you know what I'm saying, but we'll give you an MVP to keep your mouth closed. SGA might get his one MVP to keep his mouth closed, maybe a ring. But this after this season, Luka's in LA. It's Luka's turn. Yeah, but yeah, thanks for the call though.
All right, thanks, y'all.
All right. Here's the last one we're gonna do, y'all. Look at this one. Here's Jokic's. This is the year. This is 21-22. He was in the 6th seed this year. We already did this one, didn't we? We did this one already.
No,
we didn't delve deep into it.
All right, 2021.
I want to say that was the year Phoenix was 64 wins.
Yeah, I think it is. The Heat 153, the Celtics 151. They was 1 and 2 in the East. And the West was Suns with 64 wins, Grizzlies with 56, Warriors with 53. I mean, the Nuggets all the way down in the 6th seed, dog. 48 wins in the 6th seed. Now, this is the year that Michael Porter Jr. only played 9 games, so he was missing his number 3, and he was missing Jamal Murray, his number 2. He missed the whole season with the ACL. So they said, we'll overlook the fact that you're in the 6th seed and you don't play defense because you don't have your number 2 and your number 3. But that same storyline doesn't work for SGA for the voters that are Jokic fans, because he didn't have Chet almost all. Chet only played 22, 23 games so far. He just came back after the All-Star break. Lost him very early, and he didn't have his other big man. So his number 1 big and his backup big, that's all his rim protection and all his rebounding. Hartenstein and Chet were both hurt. So he didn't have 2 key guys, and Jokic didn't have 2 key guys. But the difference is when SGA lost his 2 key guys, he still was a number 1 seed. And they're not giving him credit for keeping that team at a number 1 without Chet and Hartenstein. But it's okay for Jokic to lose his 2 key guys and drop to the 6th seed and still get an MVP because he almost averaged a triple-double. Let that sink in.
That's wild.
Crazy work.
That's how they do.
Crazy.
All right, let's move on.
George Foreman just passed away.
What?
Yep. He died. He's 76 years old.
Damn.
Dang it.
Damn.
Dang, George.
Rest in peace to George Foreman.
Yeah.
My mom had one of those grills too.
I was going to say
Really,
that.
Chris? Come on, Chris.
I was going to say the same thing, though, Chris.
I'm serious.
Them Foreman grills, they came in.
Like the burgers that she made on there were pretty tough. Like the burgers was fine.
And the grease used to come. Yeah, you had to get the grease catcher. Yeah.
She had my mom had like the mint green one.
They made really good turkey burgers, man. If y'all like turkey burgers, man.
But rest in peace to George, man.
Definitely rest in peace.
For sure.
That was crazy.
All right.